This concept is about exotic scales. I don't know how exotic they are really, but if you want to get different on people, you have to discover a sequence of notes that gets outside either traditional pentatonic material or it gets out of traditional diatonic material. The interesting thing about all the modes that I've presented so far is that regardless of where they sit in whatever key we're talking about, they all actually have the same sequence of whole steps and half steps. It'd be, if you do it on one string, you know, it's from C, it's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay? You know, C Phrygian is from C, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step. So it's actually the same, you know, it winds up being like, you know, it's the same scale from another key, but it's the same thing. It's all diatonic. It's like, you know, it's all that organization of notes that you see on a piano. If you want to get outside of that, you got to dig into some other stuff. The first one, the most widely used one in hard rock is from what's called the harmonic minor scale. And just to demonstrate that in C, here's natural minor. And harmonic minor is the minor scale with a major seventh. Okay, so that tone set has a completely different, you know, interval in it. It has whole step, so from C, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, augmented second, half step. That's the harmonic minor scale. Now, when is it really useful? Well, it's super cool and useful if we play it, let's say we're talking about the C harmonic minor scale. We don't play it over the C chord, we play it over the 5 chord in that key. So we get from a G and this is, you know, it's like a Phrygian scale with a major third. That's a hot sound. Like, you know, that's been, you know, Uli John Roth and the Scorpions and Richie Blackmore used it, but then Yngwie Malmsteen took it and just made it like, you know, the hottest thing in the world for a minute. In E, so the parent key would be A minor. Over an E chord. You know, that's the sound, man. Like, you know, Yngwie just shreds that all to pieces, and we love him for it. So that's my, you know, my hot tip on exotic scales. If you really want to get into stuff that utilizes different tone sets, you know, Marty Friedman, who's an amazing solo artist, was also in Megadeth for a while. He has, like, you know, crazy cool, you know, systems of half steps and just, you know, like 4-note scales and, you know, really cool stuff. But it takes a lot of dedication. It's more like, you know, like to play strictly pentatonic, there's only 5 notes. You know, to play a 4-note scale, you know, there's only 4 notes to play. Like, you play any extra notes, you've lost the exotic sound that you're going for. So it can get really deep. But for right now, I'm just going to stick with the harmonic minor as the cool thing. In terms of what to do with it for licks, if we're in E, you know, so here's pentatonic, right? You got the flat 2, and you got the major third. want to extend the fingering using the same finger formula. Right? And then one of the most fun licks of the whole thing is to just trill on the half steps. Thank you, Uli John Roth. And one other thing that is super cool about using this from an arpeggio standpoint is that in this E Phrygian with a major third, you can create a fully diminished arpeggio. So that's D, F, G sharp, and A and B. And that is a completely symmetrical chord arpeggio. It repeats every 3 frets. And thank you very much, Yngve Malmsteen, for that one. So that is like part of what gets fun about using these alternative scale sets, is that you wind up with things that are cool to play on the guitar. So that's the intro to exotic scales, just using harmonic minor as an example, and some fun stuff you can do with it. In terms of how to incorporate it into your playing, you have to set yourself up to succeed. You have to find a song that is utilizing that tone set, or where the rhythm part is ambiguous enough that you can just force this scale onto it, so that people are like, just grooving on an E power chord. And everybody's expecting you to just go. But instead of doing that, and you come out. And everybody's like, what? So when you get applause for doing that, make sure you think kindly of me.